Alright, this is my second presentation about Mewgenics. My first one went over the basics of the game, so if you haven't seen that one, I'd recommend watching that first. But this one will be about the different classes in this game. Also, this game comes out 10th of February 2026. Go wishlist it on Steam. Anyway, so an intro to the classes is that when you start an adventure, you select 4 cats to go on an adventure, and the first thing you do is give them a collar, which is basically just their class. Each class comes with a basic attack, 50 unique abilities, and 25 passive abilities. Just to recap, active abilities cost mana, and passive abilities don't cost mana. They're always active. Classes also come with increases and decreases to some stats. We'll go over those when we're going over the specific classes. You start with the fighter, hunter, mage, and tank classes, but more do exist that you'll need to unlock by playing the game. You can also keep your cat colorless, and their abilities will just be selected from the colorless pool, but these abilities aren't very good. So I guess if you want a challenge, you can do that, but you probably shouldn't. So just a recap over stats, the average is 5, but when your cat is born, they'll be good in some stats and bad in others. That can dictate your decision about what class you'll pick for it. Strength is how much damage your cat does with their melee attacks. Dexterity is the same as strength but for ranged attacks. Constitution is how much max HP a cat has and how much a cat can regenerate between battles. Intelligence is how much mana a cat will regenerate at the end of its turn. Speed is how many tiles a cat can move on its turn and where it appears in the turn order, so faster cats will move first. Charisma is how much max mana a cat can have, how much mana a cat starts each battle with, and how skilled a cat is at breeding. And then luck affects anything that has odds in the game and how much loot you get after a battle. So the first we'll go over is colorless cats. It's not really a class, but it kind of is. There's no stat changes. When cats are born, they start out as colorless with a random basic attack, active ability, and passive ability from the colorless pool. But when you select a collar for the cat will learn the class basic attack and a random class passive ability to replace the colorless basic attack and passive ability. But cats will keep its colorless active ability along with learning a class active ability. So you'll still be keeping the colorless active ability, which may dictate also what collar you want to give your cat. So the first one we'll go over is fighter. It gives +2 strength, +1 speed, and -1 intelligence. Their basic attack is a close combat melee attack that does the most damage out of any class. And for the classes we know a lot about, we've been given some common archetypes of these cats, so I'll be going over those as well. For the fighter, there's a one punch man that deals huge damage with a single blow or multiple hits to a single target. There's an army in a can, which hits multiple enemies with one attack. There's risky, which gives big bonuses but also comes with big costs that go beyond the mana that you use for your attacks. And there's also avengers, which become stronger when other cats are downed. Then there's hunter with +3 dexterity, +2 luck, -1 constitution, and -1 strength. And their basic attack is the longest range attack of any class, but they can't attack enemies close to them. Also, the attack is lobbed, so it won't be blocked by objects on the field. The common archetypes of the hunter is tricky traps, where they place traps on the field that cause a range of negative effects to whoever triggers them. There's vermin, which summons flies, maggots, and fleas to fight alongside your party. There's eagle eye, which raises the hunter's range or spots enemies so that other teammates can gain advantage on them. There's also Scattershot, which targets all tiles in a lane or area of effect and hits multiple times. Then there's Mage with +2 charisma, +2 intelligence, -1 constitution, and -1 strength. Their basic attack is a medium range attack that requires a line of sight. Common archetypes for the Mage is an elementalist, which utilizes the major elements found in Mewgenics, such as fire and ice. There's more than that. Then there's Spells Matter, which gives Mage a special bonus when cast multiple times in a turn. Then there's Mana Engines, which fuels Mage's mana, but also gives it to other cats in the party. And then there's Defensive Maneuvers, which helps the Mage avoid combat, withstand attacks, and slow enemies. Then, for the last of the classes that you start with, there's the tank, with +4 constitution, -1 dexterity, and -1 intelligence. Their basic attack is they dash 1 tile and knocks the target back 1 space. Common archetypes for the tank is Stay Back, which is focused on knockback, which knocks things around the map, obviously, and when they collide into an object, they'll take damage. Then there's Thick, which allows tank to take damage and survive. Then there's Protector, which allows tanks to get in between the cats and enemies, or move allies and enemies around the map. Then there's Rocks, which just create and utilize rocks that are found on the battlefield. So next we'll go over the unlockable classes. It's kind of spoilers, so if you don't want to know, you can click off. First, there's the Cleric, which is given by Butch after beating Chapter 1. They have +2 Charisma, +2 Constitution, -1 Dexterity, and -1 Speed. And their basic attack is they hurt enemies and heal allies. And for the common archetypes of the Cleric, there's a Wet Nurse, which focuses on healing, cleansing, and protecting other cats. There's a Combat Medic, which puts Cleric straight into combat with an array of attacks and defensive options. There's Moral Support, which aids your allies in battle by allowing bonus attacks that affect your whole team. Then there's Back for More, which allows you to rise fallen allies from the dead. Then there's Thief, which gives +4 speed, +1 luck, -1 strength, and -1 constitution. And their basic attack is that they can hit anything in a straight line up to 3 tiles away. And for the common archetypes of the Thief, there's a Backstabber, which adds bonuses to Thief's abilities to backstab, which is just attack an enemy from the back. And that does bonus damage. Then there's Money Equals Power, which focuses on gaining coins and gaining a range of bonuses for doing so. Then there's Mr. Gone, which helps thieves survive combat by dodging, backflipping, and even vanishing from the battlefield. And then there's More Dot. Dot stands for damage over time, and it adds damage over time effects to your attacks like poison and bleed. Now for the class going forward, we know a lot less about them, but we do know that there's a Necromancer class which gives +2 constitution, +1 charisma, and -2 strength. And these cats are focused on summoning corpses and leeching life from enemies, and their basic attack gives a unit within 3 tiles +1 leech. There's no common archetypes for this because we know a lot less about them. Then there's Druids, which are kind of similar to Necromancers, where they summon, but they can also take form of animals to the battlefield. Then there's Dark Red Cats. We don't know the name of these, but based on this icon, we can kind of assume it's either a butcher or a chef or something like that. And these cats are focused on food pickups, which are food that can be found on the battlefield that you can collect. Then there's this light blue cat, which people think is an engineer because it's found in this machine right here and also has a machine gun, but we don't know that for sure. Then there's purple cats, which we know very, very little about, but people seem to think it's an illusionist. Then there's a rainbow cat, which people think could be a jester. And then there's pink, grey, and beige cats. Now these are only found in the cat family tree. The cat family tree you can find in the house, and it shows the breeding history of your cats. So people think that they could just be the icons for a colorless cat that has bred, but these could also be classes. We just don't know. And that's all the classes we know about. So finally, we'll go over multiclassing, which is when cats return from an adventure, they are retired, so they can't be taken on more adventures. But in the house, they do keep their collars, and they're able to breed with other cats, and the kitten will possibly inherit their classed active or passive ability. This is based on the stimulation in your house, which you can increase with furniture. But the kitten that's born is still born collarless, despite what active or passive they got from their parent. And when they are sent on an adventure, they can be given a collar, and this does not have to be the collar of the active and passive they got from their parent. So that would allow a cat to be given a different collar to the active or passive that they have. And this is called multiclassing, and this opens up the game for almost infinite types of cats. And that's classes. That's basically all we know. These are my references. This is where I got all my information. There's Edmund McMillen's YouTube videos. There's Tyler Galell's Twitch stream, which we made into a video soon. There's also the Mewgenics Steam page, which gives monthly updates about the game. There's the Mewgenics wiki, which compiles a lot of that data into an easy to use website. And there's also the Mewgenics Discord, which has just got a lot of people talking about the game. All of these are linked in the description. And that's it. Go wishlist Mewgenics. It comes out 10th of February 2026.